My name is Jasper. I'm a Dutch guy in my mid-20s and I've been working as a security guard for about 3 years now. After being an event security officer for about 2 years, I started working for a security company that handled other kinds of jobs, including night shifts at places not related to events and providing security at a few campgrounds. Since I worked a lot for this company and they grew to trust me, despite being a relatively new colleague, they asked me if I wanted to take on a job at one of these campgrounds, as it would provide a lot of hours. I agreed, thinking it would be a good opportunity to earn extra money and gain experience. Security is something I'm really passionate about. The work days and hours were long. I often worked 6 or 7 days a week, always in the evening from 8 p.m. to 3, 4, or sometimes even 5 a.m. For the sake of the story, I'll fast forward a bit. Quite a few things happened during that time, such as drunk guests, a man overdosing in his caravan, and even a woman having a schizophrenic episode in the middle of the night. In any case, none of those events stood out compared to what I'm about to tell you. The campground was large, and I was given a bicycle to get around more easily. One of my primary tasks was to patrol the grounds, since there was a curfew after 10 p.m., after which kids and teens weren't allowed to wander outside their tents or hang around playgrounds. While I built a pretty good rapport with the younger crowd, they were still kids, and they didn't really follow the rules. This led to the manager of the campground and my supervisor expanding my duties. Behind the campground, there was a forest with a large outdoor theater where music events were occasionally held. While it technically wasn't part of the campground, the kids would often go there at night and gather behind the stage. This was illegal, since you're not allowed to be in forests after sunset in the Netherlands, and it also violated the campground's curfew rules. So I was assigned to check the forest and the theater during my patrols. Now, I'm a big guy, about 6'5", and well-trained in self-defense, so a pitch-black forest didn't really scare me. I had caught kids out there plenty of times by sneaking up on them. Of course, to do that, it's important to stay quiet and low, which meant I didn't use my flashlight most of the time. One night, while patrolling as usual, I went into the forest to check it out. If you were really quiet, you could sometimes hear kids sneaking around the theater, laughing in the distance. That was the case this night, too. I sighed, thinking they still hadn't learned their lesson, even after multiple warnings and the manager threatening to kick them out. I biked to the edge of the campground where the lights and paved paths ended. I could hear whispering and quiet laughter in the distance, so I parked my bike and moved into the forest without my flashlight, staying as quiet as possible. When I reached the theater, nobody was there. I turned on my flashlight to make sure they weren't hiding, since they had done that before, but I couldn't find anyone. The faint whispers continued, but now they were coming from another direction. I knew there was a watchtower further ahead with a bench underneath it. I had caught kids hanging out there before, so I figured that's where they went. I moved through the forest toward the tower and stood behind a tree, watching the bench. Again, nobody was there. At this point, I still wasn't creeped out. I figured they had spotted me and were messing with me. My last thought was that maybe they had climbed all the way up the tower. The whispers stopped. Then suddenly, I heard a young man scream from above me. I immediately turned on my flashlight and pointed it toward the high watchtower. That's when it happened. It all happened incredibly fast, yet I remember it like it was in slow motion. A cloud-like humanoid shape, a pitch-black silhouette, appeared to fall from the tower at an unnatural speed. I only caught a glimpse of it as it passed through the beam of my flashlight. It was upside down, like it had been thrown head first from the top. It landed just a few feet away from me with a loud thud. Then, silence. I froze, convinced I had just witnessed someone die right in front of me. I widened the beam of my flashlight and scanned the ground around the tower. There was nothing. No body, no sound, not even disturbed ground. My heart started pounding louder and louder as the forest grew completely still. At first, I thought I might have been hallucinating. I was exhausted from the long hours, and maybe it was just a shadow crossing my flashlight beam, creating an illusion. But that wouldn't explain the thud or the scream. I ran back to my bike and rode straight to the bar, where the entertainment team usually stayed late. I told them what happened, and one of the women took me outside. She told me that the year before I started working there, a teenage boy had fallen from that tower and died on the spot. They never found out if it was an accident or if someone pushed him. After that, I refused to go back into that area. The fear was so strong that I ended up faking my reports, lying about me having been to the forest to check. I still don't know if I was just hallucinating and imagining things, but I am a spiritual person, and this could truly have been the echo or even spirit of the boy.